It's time for the Inside Pitch, the official off-season radio show of your Winnipeg Goldeyes. On the home of the Goldeyes, 93.7 CJNU.
Good evening and welcome back to the Inside Pitch here on CJNU 93.7 FM. Trevor Curl here, once again back inside the Visitors Clubhouse. We are almost at spring camp. Just a couple of weeks, players will start arriving here inside of Blue Cross Park. We'll start getting them their gear, pictures will be taken, and then next thing you know, they're out on the field practicing, getting ready for our first spring games that are coming up at the beginning of May down in Fargo. You can catch all those games on CJNU, and then as the week progresses, we'll be down in Chicago kicking off the first road trip of the season that will take us into opening day. But we've got a great episode tonight. We have Max Murphy joining us alongside with Derrick Cherry, so a little bit of the Baseball Champions League crew, if you will, joining us here on the Inside Pitch. But first, we have some house cleaning stuff to take care of. Goldeyes single game tickets on sale at Goldeyes.com. The home opener specifically will be on May 19th versus Kane County. First 5,000 fans will get a brand new red jersey. Gates will open at 5 o'clock for this 6:30 start time. Jerseys are first come, first serve, so get to the ballpark early. There'll also be post-game fireworks after the conclusion of the ball game. New signing for the Goldeyes. Catcher Raphael Pelche will join us out of the University of Kentucky from Montreal, Quebec. He was in the Intercountry Baseball League in 2025 with the London Majors. We'll talk about mini packs next, and well, if you're going to go to one, you might as well go to 10. 10 games starting at $120 down the baseline, $220 behind home plate. Very flexible scheduling options, 5 different varieties. You can find more information for that at Goldeyes.com/minipacks. And finally, more Manitoba Mosquitoes news. Final day for pre-orders is April 30th at 5 o'clock to get all your Manitoba Mosquitoes gear in time before our July 31st game. And of course is at 7 o'clock. There will be another chance to get more Goldeyes and Mosquitoes merch. That's at shopgoldeyes.ca. We have a great show tonight. Derrick Cherry and Max Murphy join us. So here it is, Goldeyes outfielder Max Murphy. We're joined by Max Murphy on the Inside Pitch. Max, it's been a little bit of an interesting little offseason here, just kind of wrapping things up. You had Baseball Champions League again, and just kind of a little bit of a longer offseason, obviously, without the postseason. But otherwise, we're getting ready for a new year. So you ready for year number 6?
Yes, I am. Been working hard, and team looks good, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this year's team. We'll very briefly go back to last year. Just been talking about it so much with Logan, with some of the other guys. But take us through kind of your thoughts of what you saw last year and at least what the positives that you were able to take away from a season where it just seemed like you guys were in every single contest.
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest positive was we were always in the games. We weren't like regularly getting blown out. It happened a few times, but that happens every year, no matter how good you are. But yeah, we just fell behind right away. We lost 3 or 4 starting pitchers, and that really, especially the way the league was structured last year in our half of the division, we were just kind of screwed because the starting pitching was so good that we just couldn't really hang with them, piecing it together like we were. So yeah, this year looks a lot better.
When you look back to last year and you saw how good a division like the West was, have you ever played in a season where you kind of knew that you feel like you had to win every single close game in order to keep up with the rest of the league, it seemed like?
No, not that I can remember. It's pretty much always 1 or 2 teams are right there really good, and then the 3 and 4 spot in the playoffs is always wide open. Like you see teams go from last for most of the season and sneak in, but this year that wasn't the case. You had to be good in our division the entire year.
Oh, when you're looking at just kind of everything that did go down with at least on that pitching side of things, is there like anything that the offense knows that we kind of have to put up at least 7 or 8 runs? It seems like every night, which is, in certain cases, like it seems doable, but it just seems like up in Winnipeg, at least whenever we're playing at home, it can be a little bit of a struggle to push across those extra bit of runs, what just because of whether it's the weather, the wind maybe is not affecting hitters as much as it would pitchers? Does it kind of like go through your guys' mind that feels like we have to score every single guy that gets into the scoring position?
A little bit. I think it's more of just we are never able to get anything going offensively or really kind of mesh as a offense. It was like one guy would be hot at this time, everyone else would be cold, then another guy would be hot at this time. Like there was a few stretches where multiple guys were rolling, but it really just never got going offensively, which was surprising for the the team we had, but it just didn't happen.
I read back in an offseason article that you said that you've been on bad teams before, and last year wasn't a bad team. It was just just a full combination of just tough results, one-run games, etc. But when you actually look at last year's team, what kind of stood out to you about last year's ball club?
Well, right away, obviously falling behind early, losing our pitchers or starting pitching makes it tough. Then obviously we lose Landon, who was like our guy. He was the only one he was carrying us pitching wise. Gets sick. We lose him for a month and a half, and just offensively, way too many strikeouts. We basically had three guys, me being one of them, that strikes out a lot, and having us three all around the same part of the order made it really tough because we were striking out a lot and just not putting guys on base. And then when like Ramon on base all the time, and then no one driving him in, so that it was kind of a combination of those two things.
But you saw on the other side of it when you guys like you, Workington, Robson, if you guys were kind of clumped together in the middle of the order, or did, or even just kind of throw anybody in that stretch. When you guys were going though, it was really dangerous, especially like maybe it's your second time around. You guys would either you would hit a double, Workington would hit a double, or you guys could just leave the ballpark at any moment. How does it kind of happen where you just all catch fire at once? Is it just by coincidence that you three are just hitting at the same time, or is that just how baseball works, where one guy is going to be hot for these couple of weeks, and then maybe there's a stretch where they're not swinging as well?
Uh, it's it's kind of a little bit. A lot of it is just baseball. It's just how it goes, and hopefully, guys kind of like really what you want is one of your big guns going good, and then your other guys kind of just hanging with it when they're not going bad. It seemed like it was either really good or really bad, and that never works out because those guys going really good never are at the same time, and it's never for a prolonged stretch. So that made it really tough.
We'll transition that into now this season. So obviously you're definitely looking at the roster. You've seen the moves Logan's made, specifically at least in the field. Ditter coming back, he looks like he's more comfort, or there's a little more comfort this year after his first year last year. Giandito Trump's coming into the outfield. Noah Marcello's going to join you in the outfield. So you've got a rather nice balance of veteran leadership and younger kids who definitely have the plus ability of speed and contact. From what you're seeing on this roster so far, what have you liked about it?
I like that it's really well rounded. Defense is almost never an issue. We have good defenders, so we know that's going to be there. It's just the hitting, and I think there's a good balance of guys who are going to put the ball in play more, and then some guys that can put it out of the park. We don't have a bunch of big boppers, but it's really tough. Even you look at the teams that have that in the past, and those teams aren't even the best teams in the league. It's like you need a well-rounded hitting, a well-rounded lineup, so it makes it really tough on the opposing pitcher.
I saw that last year with Sioux Falls. Is that, I mean, obviously the bird cage plays
Mm.
into that factor a lot, but even when they were on the road, their offense was carrying a lot of their bulk weight and their pitching. They had a couple of good guys in the back end of their bullpen, but it was really like one starter could get them at least through a series, but then it was just their offense on the rest of the side. Is it a bit of a risky move to put kind of all your big guns in the offensive side and kind of hope that your pitching can just at least hold the weight?
Yes, for sure. I mean, you saw Sioux Falls last year. They did it with their offense, but I mean, you look at like Cleburne, they had multiple guys that hit 20 home runs and they didn't make the playoffs. Look at different teams in the past. Usually if you try and do it with just offense, it's going to be really tough. Your pitching has to be there, especially once you get to the playoffs. You need pitching in the playoffs.
Um, so I mean, it's pretty much true to say that good pitching most often usually wins versus good hitters. Is that a fair statement to
Yeah,
ponder?
the hitters will have their time, but for the majority of the teams, the majority of the seasons, like it's going to be the team that has really good pitching is the team that's going to be successful the whole entire season.
So then what's going to be more important then, especially as we look into this year specifically? It looks like Logan's built a pretty deep starting rotation. It looks like there's not just a set of a one, a two, a three. It looks like there's a healthy amount of twos and then maybe a three is in the back end of that rotation. And the bullpen also looks like it's pretty strong. But when you're looking at the importance of that pitching side of a starter's role versus the relievers, where do you kind of put a lot more of the importance, at least right now? Is it in the starting or is it in the bullpen?
I I, I think in our league, starting for sure. I mean, it's obviously really nice when you got a really good bullpen like we did 2 years ago. We had great starters, great bullpen. Teams just couldn't score against us, but if you get a good starting staff that can go 6 to 8 innings regularly, you only need a few good bullpen guys. But right now, obviously, we haven't seen a lot of these guys, but it looks like we're pretty well rounded right now.
I mean, especially at the top end of the rotation, because it looks like you have Landon Slade one. Noah Milliken looks like he's going to be in the middle of that rotation there. He had a really good year in the Pioneer League. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But when you're looking at the rest of the rotation with Mitch being added in as someone who can kind of maybe not anchor the rotation, but at least kind of give a different look from the left side, what does that look like going out each day? Say with James Bradwell, where you can at least have some guys consistently getting past the sixth inning, maybe into the seventh inning.
I mean, it's huge. It's not having holes in your starting rotation is massive, especially offensively, because it takes the pressure off you. Like we just got to go out and do our thing. There's not a day where it's like, wow, we really got to try and swing it today because we just don't know what we're going to get from our pitcher today. But when we got a good, solid rotation, I mean, it's better hitting and it's way better being in the field.
So I wanted to step back because Noah Milliken, he'll be going from the Pioneer League into the American Association. There's a couple of guys on this roster who will be making that jump from the Pioneer League into the American Association. When someone is making a jump like that, what do you kind of notice about the player when they go into a league where they're facing better hitters, or then on the other side, hitters, they're facing better pitchers?
Well, they gotta make a big jump and they gotta adjust as fast as possible. Um, I don't know if there's not a lot of specific things. I guess for on I know on the hitter side, a lot of guys hit a ton of home runs in the Pioneer League, like stupid numbers, and that's just not going to happen in this league. So typically, the guys that hit more contact oriented are able to transition a little bit better. And then pitching wise, if you're able to get out inside the strike zone, you're gonna be effective pretty much anywhere.
So then that kind of looks at, or we take a look at what Sioux City did last year, and pretty much that entire roster, it seemed like, was Pioneer League guys who jumped into the American Association. And we're kind of seeing that a little bit throughout the league as a whole. I talked with Logan back at the beginning of the offseason about the league kind of going a little bit into the younger side. What do you notice about the younger kids in this league and how they're able to make the adjustment facing veteran hitters or veteran pitchers?
Well, a lot of it is mental, just coming in, being ready, and just being, I guess, kind of knowing what they have to do, not coming in and thinking like, oh, I'm gonna strike everyone out. I'm gonna hit a bunch of home runs. Like you got to come in, you got to play the game, and you got to adjust as fast as you can because there are plenty of guys that come in and they're great players, they help us out a lot. And then there are plenty of guys who come in and they can't make the adjustment because the league is just so much different. So it's just whoever's able to adjust.
It's kind of a good segue here. So I want to go back from when you graduated college and you were drafted by the Twins and what your transition was like going from college baseball into professional baseball. So when were you able to kind of find that adjustment that clicked in you that said, yes, I can compete at this level from going from Division I ball to professional baseball?
So right away when I got drafted, I came out super hot. So right away I knew I could play there. And then towards the end of that first season, I started slumping a bit, and it's it took me even then the whole next season I had a terrible season. It took me having that entire terrible season, realizing this season doesn't end. Like always before college, high school, whatever, it was like a bunch of small seasons. You played a lot, but you play like your 50 game college season, then you play 30 game summer season, then you play your 20 game fall season. So they're all split up. Once you get to pro ball, it's just one long season that drags. So you got to be consistent, and you got to, when things are not going good, it's not about being the best player, even if you are the best player in the league. It's about doing anything you can to still be productive until you start feeling good again and the bat starts waking up.
Is there a secret to getting past those skids where things just aren't simply going your way early on, whether it's just you're not swinging at the right pitches or it seems like you're hitting stuff and there's always somebody there. Is there a mental cue that has worked either for you in the past or just that can help anyone get through that skid of like it feels like I suck and baseball's hard, or like you're just able to eventually break out of it because everyone usually does break out of those skids?
It's all mental. And there's no secret. It's just who can, I guess, suffer through it, you know, who can suffer through it. And then you got to somehow stay positive or stay confident because eventually it'll come around again. It always does. But if you can last through it, I mean, it's just being tough. That's all it is.
I mean, how long do you think for some of these guys, like when you're looking into like a rough stretch of games, like is it just more at bats? You kind of just feel more comfortable with just being in the moment of that, or is it something like, gosh, like I would really not want to step into the box right now. I just do not feel comfortable.
It's definitely not more at bats. Little breaks, I think, help, but you just don't have that in professional baseball. You're playing every day, so you don't have the break. That's why when I was talking about the other seasons, it made it a lot easier because you get a week off or 2 weeks off in between seasons. So if you started going bad, you made it to the end of the season, okay, you got a little break and you can reset. Now it's just you just got to wait it out. You got to
Mhm.
change your approach. You got to do something. It might be working more in the cage. It might be working less. It could be like different things throughout my career have worked and not worked. Like you got to just figure it out. It's never the same thing.
This happened a couple of days ago. I was watching Josh Naylor hit, and I think Edgar Martinez said you should start doing a leg kick. And next thing you know, he does a leg kick, hits 2 home runs at bat. It's like, hey, do you want to keep it going? No, it sucks. I don't like it, but it just seemed to end up working. But I think the for me, what was more entertaining was like, what's the worst that can happen? I go 0 for 4 again. Like, is that weird in a player's mind of, well, let's just keep trying something new until maybe it sticks?
Yeah, you don't want to go too crazy with that, but it's like that's exactly right. There are plenty of times where it's like you almost have to get over the mental block of I've always done it this way, so I'm going to keep doing it until things turn around. There's sometimes where it's like, all right, I'm just going to do something completely different today because I'm striking out, I'm going over every game. So if
Mhm.
that happens, that was already probably going to happen. So maybe this will work.
Have you ever done something like that where you just said, I'm going to do something I've never done before and just ended up working out well?
Yeah, usually I've done that plenty of times. The only thing is usually it might work for a game or two or a series. Usually it doesn't stick long term, but every once in a while there'll be something like changing the leg kick or changing the hands a little bit where it'll carry you for sometimes the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Part of that was kind of goes into my mind of, have you ever said, I'm going to wear batting practice or wear my batting gloves for an at bat? Because obviously in BPS you wear batting gloves, but that's for BP. In a game, grab the dirt, rub it on your hands. That's it. So have you ever worn batting gloves in a game to try and break out of a little skid?
I have earlier in my career, like I think I did 1 year in college and I did for 1 year in pro ball, but I just feel more comfortable without them because I use them every day in practice, and
Hmm.
then I go barehanded the game, and then like I like the difference, the feel of the practice is different than the game, and so
Hmm.
that's just how I am.
When did you start going no batting gloves during BP or in the game?
Almost always there's a lot of it was just I never needed them, and batting gloves were expensive, so I'm not going to buy something that's expensive and wears out because that I don't need doesn't help me at all. So I kind of just never had them.
I think that was the Fred Couples reason why he doesn't wear a golf club. Talking with Max Murphy on the inside pitch. Keep it going here to just what was one of the harder lessons or a welcome to pro ball moment that you had when you were younger?
Hmm. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just it's every day. It's every single day. You're playing every single day, especially for a guy like me. I wasn't a backup player, so I wasn't starting 2 or 3 times a week. I was starting every single day. So
Hmm.
it's like you're playing every day. It doesn't matter how good or bad you feel. You're playing. If you're banged up, well, you got to find a way to play still, unless you're actually injured. So
Hmm.
um, that was definitely the toughest thing.
Well, same thing if you were down in Florida too, especially like if it's the middle of the summer and those games where it is so dang hot and then games could kind of drag on a bit. Like I've heard just the Florida State League is one of the hardest places to learn to play pro ball because it kind of throws you through the ringer of almost everything.
Yeah, just super hot. It would rain almost every single day, and you'd think, oh, we're getting a rain out today. And then an hour and a half later, the field would be perfectly dry, ready to play. Like it just never, the weather never gave you a rain out. It looked like it almost every day, but never happened.
We'll keep things rolling. Kind of goes into that same thing of probably one of the better road trips that you've ever been on. Doesn't have to be with the Goldeyes, could be back in the affiliated days, but or even with St. Paul. But what's the best road trip that you've ever been a part of?
Like baseball wise,
I mean, it's a double question. You do baseball and or outside of baseball.
I mean, I don't really do much outside of baseball on the road. So
Well,
probably baseball wise, there was a stretch in 2019 when I was crazy hot. We went to Sioux Falls, which is a place that I do terrible at. My career
mhm,
numbers there are pretty bad. A lot of home runs because it's small, but
mhm.
not a whole lot of contact. And that series was a 4 game series, and I think I hit 5 home runs and like 3 doubles, hit like 600. And we went somewhere else before that too. I can't remember where it was, but I had hit like 2 home runs in that series too. So it was just a crazy week.
It's just when you're playing on the road, is there a bit of a difference between playing in the comfort at home versus going on the road where you're traveling, being in a hotel pretty much every other weekend, essentially?
Yeah, it's definitely different, but that's another thing you gotta adjust to when you're playing. As soon as you get to college, you start having to adjust to that, but especially pro ball, like you gotta be ready to go at home and on the road. Um, and it's different depending on the field. Like some fields really comfortable playing on, it's good hitting, and some are a little bit tougher. So kind of just depends on the field, but it's I'm used to it now. It's not too bad.
And we'll segue into Baseball Champions League because it kind of plays into that. But third edition of BCL play. First year you with Fargo down in Monterey, won that one. Last year down in Mexico City, came up short of the finals, which is what obviously the goal is to get there and win it. And then obviously just a couple of weeks ago, you guys were down there, ended up winning it all again. Take us through the first year of the tournament and kind of as it's developed so far. But what is it like going down there and playing in an environment that obviously you've played in before in LMB play for a little bit, but what is it like traveling kind of with an all-star team, if you will, and just going out there and playing against some of the more interesting competition that you usually don't get to see unless you travel abroad?
Well, I mean, it's awesome. It's um, going and playing in Mexico season wise can be pretty hit or miss. Like there's some guys that love it, and then there's a lot of guys that have really bad stories. But when you're going down there and you know I'm just playing this tournament for a week, it's awesome. You go down, you know you have a good team, you want to win, but uh, at the same time, it doesn't really matter that much. Like if we go down there and lose, it's like whatever. So that ends up making us play better because we're playing so loose, and then all the guys like I'm playing with guys that I've been playing against for or with sometimes for I don't know 6+ years. So it's just a really fun experience.
I mean, this kind of last trip around there, second time going back down to Mexico City, we talked a lot prior to the tournament starting, and then we talked a little bit after everything. But what did you learn from that tournament, at least playing in the elevation that is Mexico City?
Well, it's all offense for the most part. If you want to put the ball in play, because almost every ball put in play, especially on the barrel, is going to be a hit, even ground balls. And for me as an outfielder, it makes it really easy because I just play super deep because everything's going to get out to me. I don't have to worry about catching like little things that drop in. So it's an offensive game, and you need to try and conserve pitching as much as possible because there are going to be games where they're just the elevation is just going to make it a completely offensive game, and you're going to go through a ton of pitchers. So you got to try and save guys or like spread guys out in a way where you actually have guys ready for it when you if and when you do get to the championship game.
Well, we saw it that game against the Chinese Taipei squad where you guys gave up 5 runs in the top of the first inning, and then you turned around, you dropped 10, just right
Mm-hmm.
back at them. So as an offense, and this is something that I heard from Chris Coast, I heard from quite a bit of other guys of there was just absolutely no panic in your guys' dugout really ever the entire tournament. And is that odd kind of going straight off the couch and being able to just throw up a couple of crooked numbers kind of right out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely it's way different. There's really nothing else like that where you can just go, all right, like we'll just if we can just barrel a few up in the air, they're going to be homers. So get some guys on base, and eventually, even if the pitching on the other team is good, eventually a guy's going to leave one right there, and the game can completely change in the matter of just like three batters. We can just score like 5 runs out of nowhere. So it's just it's fun, and rolling off the couch and like rolling right off the couch and beat Mexico was awesome. Like none of us have been playing. We've been training, but
Mhm.
we haven't been playing at all.
What was that like going into that environment of it wasn't the first day wasn't as like sold out expected as we thought it was going to be, but then the championship game it looked like the energy was kind of brought back a little bit. But what was it like kind of just straight up silencing that crowd that was quite clearly against you guys from the entire tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I played down there before. I played against a lot of those players and just been in, and I just know the way that they think about their baseball down there, and they think they're what like the best. They think they're so good, and we went in there and we just kicked their ass. Like we just beat the crap out of them. We just showed like you're not as good as you think you are. Like we pretty much all these old dudes in indie ball can hang with all the players down there.
That kind of brings me back to the 3-run home run that Jabari hit. Did any of you guys expect that ball to go out? Because it looked like he just hit a routine fly ball to center that just got caught up in the wind a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. He hit it. And I was like, perfect sack fly. We're gonna take the lead right here. And then the was the guy on second too, or was he on first? Oh
I
yeah,
think,
Josh
yeah,
was on second, right?
yeah.
So I was like, oh great, we're both gonna be able to tag, and we'll get a run here, and there'll be a guy on third with one out or zero outs, and or
Mhm.
one out, and it'll be great. But then it just you get it up in the air there, and it just never comes down.
I mean, you had a home run. I think the day before it was, or was it that game? It was a 3-run home run.
Yeah. No, it was before against
Yeah.
Taipei.
Yes, that was. But did you think that one was going to go out when he hit it? Because it had that same kind of little fade out to right center.
No, I just hit it up in the air, and I was like, nice sack fly. There's a guy on third, and it just then I started looking at it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna go out.
Yeah. And then earlier in the tournament, you hit the opposite field home run. Well, first off, you got a base hit against your former teammate Justin Courtney. So
Mhm.
we'll start off with that one. What was that like facing a guy who you got to know a little bit for a couple of months of the season in 24, and then you face him for the next time and you hit a base hit pretty much right back at his hat?
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. He was our arguably one of the best pitchers we like bullpen arms we've ever had on the Goldeyes. Like he was really good, and that day he didn't have it, so that was a good day to catch him. And he just first pitch gave me a good one to hit. I'm like, I'll take my hit right now, and we'll keep it rolling.
And then he had that opposite field home run later on in that game. Uh, we've been seeing you kind of take the ball to the opposite field a little bit more, and especially with a little more thump over the last few seasons. But opposite field home runs, like I know we know the ones that you put on Waterfront quite a bit, but do you kind of have a little bit of pride going backside?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can pull them, but it's easier to hit them opposite field. Like you have to be a little bit earlier and kind of get the head out a little bit more to pull it. It just gives me more time to let see the ball and see where the pitch is. And especially like guys like to throw me away a lot. Away pitches I'm not pulling. So
Mhm.
I have the ability to put them out that way. So that's usually what I go for.
Has there been a home run the opposite way that has even impressed you? They're like, oh, I didn't think I could get that one out, but it just kept on going.
I kind of started in 2022. Like they were just peppering me all the way. And I think it was against Garrett Alexander when he was starting for Cleburne. I had two strikes, and he threw like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball up and away, and I just got the barrel to it, and it was way gone. I was like, oh, like that was a lot easier than trying to pull him. I just do that every time.
We'll wrap this up here with just a little bit of what you're expecting to see from the season this year. So go from 2024 to being in the finals to last year, just again, just the tough results to now you're going into this season, got a good amount of the crew that's returning back again. Kind of what's been the focus going into this season, if there's any difference from years prior?
Oh, well, I think it's just for me, there's just no way that's going to happen again last year. So it's just coming in and being ready to play, welcoming in the new guys and trying to create a good clubhouse right away is super important. It's not always the best team that wins. It's usually the team that's the closest and has the most fun together. So that's really important to create that right away, right off the bat. And yeah, I mean the baseball's going to be there.
hmm And then kind of the to piggyback off the first point, when you're going into a clubhouse with plenty of guys who are returning versus again, a good amount of guys who know each other. How much does that help kind of having that camaraderie early on before everyone meets each other? Because that's what we kind of saw that first year when it was Landon who would eventually bring in Rob, and then Rob eventually brought in his whole posse in, and it just seemed like everyone gelled so quickly from the get go.
Yeah, it's super important. You don't want there to be like certain guys that feel like they don't know anyone, especially you don't know everyone's personality. Sometimes there are guys that come in and um they're really social and they fit in right away, and then there are guys who are a little more like laid back and reserved, and sometimes it takes other guys trying to bring them in, and it's always good when those types of guys already know someone or have some sort of relationship where right away we can start vibing together instead of waiting till like halfway.
Does it feel pretty good that there's already guys kind of coming in, getting ready to go for the season already, just showing up? Mitch was here a couple of week ago. He came into town. Obviously, Kevin's already been here, living in the off season. Landon back in town as well after Australia. Now that guys are starting to finally come back, is it really starting to feel like baseball again after moving everything back into the clubhouse?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. Landon pointed it out the other day because we were all working out at the facility, and he's like, "This is really cool. We got all these pro guys here, like working out, getting ready for the season. Like this is Winnipeg, Manitoba. That kind of thing doesn't happen here. That's what happens down in Texas and Florida and Arizona. But so it's cool to have that up here right now."
Yeah, super excited. Season's coming up soon. Max, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk with you once spring camp breaks in just about a week or so.
Cool. Thanks, Trevor.
We welcome you back onto the Inside Pitch. Gorgeous day here in Winnipeg as we're slowly getting ready for Goldeye baseball. With Derrick Cherry joining us from where? Houston, Texas, Baytown. Where were we at?
I'm in Houston, Texas right now.
Yeah, just a couple more weeks of the off season, and then we get ready to roll for 2026. So there's a lot to talk about for you in this off season. Probably a little bit more than the average player. You had some winter ball experience out in China. We'll talk about that for a little bit. Baseball Champions League in Mexico City. But first of all, when the season ended last year, just kind of what was kind of happening for your off season work going into the winter?
Honestly, after last year, I didn't know what was coming for me. I knew that I was gonna have to stay like busy, keep working and doing all the good stuff to stay in shape because phone calls happen and maybe you have to pack up and go somewhere. I mean, that's just like the Champions League. I mean, I got a call maybe 4 or 5 days before, and they were like, "Hey, pack your stuff, come join us," and I did that. So.
And so I'm guessing not a whole lot known once the season comes to an end here, but let's just kind of push things along. So you go into the fall, go into October, and into November, and the next thing you know, you're packing your bags and you're heading for Shenzhen, China. For those who don't know, I had to look this up earlier. Just north of Hong Kong, you're in Southeast China, about like what, a full days of travel just to get there, and then the
Oh
next
yeah.
thing you know, you're pitching some pretty competitive baseball. But take us through kind of how that ended up occurring in your favor.
So actually, Samuel Benjamin is a good buddy of mine I played with in college. He played with the WBC team for Team China, and the one of the players on that team was the manager for the team in China, and he ended up asking Sammy. He was like, "Hey, you need any? Do you have any pitchers that I could use in China?" And he brought up my name, and then ended up getting a call and going out there and uh, experiencing that place was honestly unreal. Like the atmosphere, playing in front of all those fans, everything was just awesome. The food, all of the above. I mean, it was an awesome experience. So
I'd say it was kind of weird because I just happened to come across your Instagram page at some point in the offseason. I look, it's like he's in China. Like, I don't know if it was like for vacation, if it was for baseball, and then a couple of posts later, it's you actually pitching. But take us through what that's like pitching in the Chinese Professional Baseball Spring League. I knew it was their first year doing something like that, but just take us through kind of what it's like pitching abroad like that, especially in a league that has pretty unknown variables in it.
I think it was honestly really cool. I got to play against guys from the KBO, from Taiwan, a couple guys from Japan. So, I mean, getting to play against high level talent from countries that are just not from where you're from is honestly really cool. It's because they play the game a little bit differently. Like they're not the big guys that go up there and throw 100 and hit the ball 500 feet, but they're going to go up there and play the game in a different way and still execute plays and just see the game differently than what I'm used to seeing it. So, I mean, I thought that was really cool. Honestly, the best thing for me was the fans. I thought playing in front of those fans was honestly really cool. They had very high energy the entire time throughout the entire game. They had cheerleaders, chants. They had all types of stuff, robot dogs, and all types of things on the field, and it was a really cool experience just overall.
Oh, when you're going into that environment like that, what's kind of the thing that you're kind of telling yourself that you need to still stay at least like not just locked in, but still stay kind of focused on everything? Because when you go into an experience like that, I'd imagine that it's one, you're an American pitching in China, so there's already probably a higher expectation for you because you're an import player. But not only
Yeah.
that, like you said, you're pitching in an environment where you're not used to like a nightclub experience when you're out on the mound. Like everything we're used to in the United States and up in Canada, it's a little bit more like a church atmosphere where everyone's kind of getting quiet as the pitch is being thrown. But there, it just seems like it's only getting louder as you
Oh
actually
yeah.
get into the game itself.
Yeah, that's honestly what made it really cool is just like hearing these people from across the world chant your name and like just hearing them even make chants out of my name and just little things like that was just like you don't really see that in American baseball and stuff. And like the average like American baseball player in the MLB can go unnoticed, like just walking through town, and over there it's like I mean, I was a professional athlete, but I wasn't like an MLB level athlete as you'd be in America. And I mean, I would walk around and get noticed by everybody, like going to KFC and going to grab food or something, and like you got people coming up asking for photographs and autographs and just everything. And I think that was really cool for me.
I mean, what's the? I mean, you talked a little bit about the players that they're getting in, like guys from Korean baseball and the Nippon League in Japan, but compared to maybe some of the leagues that you played at in the past, like where does it rank on like the talent and then that sort of scale?
I think honestly, it's a very high level, like talent wise. I haven't got to play like high affiliate level baseball yet, so I mean I couldn't really compare it there. But playing in Mexico, I think it would be honestly right on pace with like the LMB, or I mean I think even the American Association, like they have some very competitive players, and I think it's really cool. Honestly, like those guys are very high level players, so it was cool to see.
Sticking with the international baseball theme, let's go into a little bit of the World Baseball Classic because that took place in Houston, and I saw that you went to one of the USA games. So, what game did you actually go to when the WBC was down at Dyken Park?
Uh, I went to USA versus Mexico, and it was phenomenal. I mean, that's kind of like going to one of those games is kind of like the atmosphere you would see in like a game overseas, and so that's really cool to like get to see that in America. Like fans from all over the world coming and just having a great time. I think that's what makes the game more fun, honestly.
So in that environment, I was just looking at Twitter and during the game itself and like how like I was getting reports that it was like 65, 70% of the fans that were in Houston were Mexican fans. Did you feel that
Oh yeah.
energy in the ballpark as well?
Oh yeah, you could definitely feel it. I mean, walking around, like when you walked into the stadium, just walking around to go find your seats and stuff. I mean, everybody was just decked out in Mexico gear. So I mean, seeing the fan base, like people come together like that means a lot. And I think it's really good for the game of baseball, honestly. So.
Well, not only that, what is it like being a professional athlete, especially being a professional baseball player, and then being able to sit in the stands as a fan watching those games, and you got Major League's best talent on Team USA playing, and then on the Mexican side, you see not only all-stars on that side as well, but also maybe some underrated gems that are kind of hiding in the shadows of what is that United States team.
I mean, obviously you got Team USA with all the all-stars. I got to see Paul Skeens on the mound, I got to see him in college, but seeing him at the MLB level now with all of his stuff is just like unreal. And it's a little different, like being in the stands and playing the game at almost that level is, I mean, you pick apart things a little differently than like the normal person, and you're in the game a little bit more. But I mean, just seeing those guys play at a high level is honestly unreal. And Mexico Jaron Duran's he's not a sleeper pick at all, but seeing him go out there and ball out, that was really cool.
And then just kind of so that was the only WBC game did you go to? Was that one?
Yeah, I actually only got to go to that one. I had a bunch of friends that made it to like a bunch of the other games. I only got to make it to one because I got some free tickets to that one, but that's about it.
So when you're growing up in Houston, do you ever like imagine that the international stage would come to you like that? Like, there's the World Cup that's obviously coming to the US, Canada, and Mexico, but World Baseball Classic, same kind of deal, comes every couple of years. Do you ever imagine going to one of those games and like being as heavily locked in as you are just like as a normal fan?
Honestly, no. That's what I told myself too. I was like, I got to go to this game because I don't know when the next time this could ever be here again. I might not even get to see that like Team USA or something like that again. So I made sure to get up there and go check them out, and it was honestly a blast. I'm glad I made it out there.
And we'll keep that theme going with Mexico because pitching down in the Baseball Champions League, obviously a thrill of a lifetime. Being able to win a championship, playing with Murph and playing with a bunch of guys in the league, we'll get around to that. But let's just start out with just the elephant in the room. What is it like actually pitching in an environment that is not just high level baseball, but the field itself also kind of works against almost everybody if you're on the pitching and defensive side of things. You have 7,000 plus elevation. You have a field that's about as bouncy as your parking lot is, probably where the facility you're at right now. And then, of course,
Yeah.
it's just the LMB environment of same thing you experience when you're in China, of the loud noises that come into the from the crowd. The PA system is always playing music up until you actually start your stretch. So take us kind of through just everything that involved going into Mexico City and what that environment was like.
Honestly, I think playing in China honestly got me like a little bit prepared for having like the music and the fans and just everything going while you're out there throwing the rock. And so I think the first time when I got out there, it wasn't that bad, but I will say like the energy and just the feelings like in your body. I mean, I was numb out there the first time I got on the mound. I just hearing, I don't know exactly how many we had, but 4,000 or 5,000 in a different country yelling and screaming and blowing whistles and doing those little things that they spin. I mean, it gets loud and it gets rowdy when stuff starts not going your way. So I mean, being able to control that, I think started when I was out in China, honestly, because I've never experienced anything like that. So, I mean,
So what is it kind of like just sitting in the bullpen and then you kind of hear, all right, Cherry, get going. Like I talked about it with Weston Lombard about just kind of that sinking feeling that you get in your stomach and kind of just like, all right, it's time to get going. What's that like, especially out there where you're all the way out in the outfield, you're just kind of watching the game as is, and then you get the phone call from the bullpen phone going.
I will say, honestly, the first time I got the call when I was in Mexico, I wasn't expecting it. Like, we have on that team is a lot of veteran guys, and like for them to call down and say, "Hey, get Cherry hot," as like one of the first guys to come out of the bullpen. Honestly, I was not expecting it, so it caught me a little off guard, and that made the feelings get jumping even more. But honestly, once you get out there, it's kind of like just you start hearing things, and I mean, it doesn't really phase you when you get out there as much. But the lead up to it, you definitely get some stomach wrenching feelings whenever you're in the bullpen out there.
Well, not only that, you were at the point of the lineup card where we coined it the gauntlet. You had, I think you ended up facing the middle of that order of Marmoleos, Singleton, and Franco. So those are three guys who combined have, I think we looked at the number, it was over 300 major league home runs just combined from those guys. But not only that, you probably watched a little bit of John Singleton when he was a Houston Astro back in the day. So what is that experience like, just seeing the three major league veterans who, made it to the show, had a little bit of a thriving career, and then you got to go out there and face them, especially in a game where it was still kind of unknown of where kind of the tides was going to turn in that one, because obviously you guys at Kane County were doing pretty good at that point, but you were kind of in there to lock things down and at least hold the middle innings.
Yeah. I mean, knowing John Singleton and all those guys, I mean, that's really cool. And I was a fan of that guy whenever he was on the Astros, so getting to throw against them is honestly a blessing. And I try not to look at the faces, and I just focus on the catcher. I don't look up at the batter or anything like that. I kind of just keep my focus on the catcher, and I know what I got to do out there when I get on the mound. So, I mean, I've been throwing the ball very well, honestly, all winter. So kind of just challenging hitters is that's the motto right now. Like, I know my stuff plays very well, so just getting up there, and I mean, hitting's hard. It's one of the hardest things to do in all the sports. So just going at everybody, no matter if it's John Singleton or, if they've been in the big leagues for 10 years or 0 years, just going at everybody the same, throwing strikes and working ahead. I think that's the main thing that kind of keeps me focused when I'm out there facing those bigger name guys.
To step away from that, back to the elevation, did you get a little bit of that effect when you were in the Pioneer League, just kind of learning a little bit how to deal with the ball that's a little bit lighter?
Oh yeah. Playing in Colorado was an eye opener. I mean, like they say, like the ball doesn't move as much in elevation and stuff. And I mean, that's true. Like if you're trying to throw spin in high elevated places, the ball's just not going to catch, and it's going to be a little different whenever you get out there. And I think that's what happened on my first outing in Mexico, was like just kind of getting used to being back in the elevation and throwing again out there. Was like, because the ball was riding and not moving as much. So it's like you got to kind of make adjustments as you go out there. And I mean, I think that was the big part to having success in Mexico, was making adjustments and learning, like, hey, I can't throw this where I usually throw this off speed. I maybe can't throw it there this weekend or this week, just making those little adjustments. I think that's what, and that started in Colorado. Yeah. So I think that pitching in elevation just is not fun, honestly.
And we're talking about Derrick Cherry on the inside pitch. I mean, it's still like a 2,000 plus foot difference though between Colorado and Mexico City, because I think where Denver sits, it's just above sea level or just like right on the edge. But this is like another almost mile above that as well on top of that. So how does
Yeah.
someone go from training in the off season in Houston at sea level to now you're 7,500 feet above the clouds, and now you got to go to work in, again, an environment that is against you, especially with any ball that's hit on the ground, that could possibly be a hit as well, just because of how bouncy that field is.
Honestly, the place that I work out at, that I was just showing you, we have a bunch of guys here that have played the MLB, and they're kind of doing the Mexico situation now. And even before I went there, they were talking to me about it, like telling me, hey, your stuff's not going to move as much. Like, get the ball down. Just telling me all about the field and how, like, it's not really a pitcher's ballpark. And so, I mean, I got like a heads up before I went out there, and kind of knew in my head, like, hey, I got to do these things and like focus on this to get the results that I want.
And when you're getting off the bus too, and you were walking onto the field like you're climbing up the tunnel from the clubhouse, how is it just when you walk up those steps and you look around and it's a full-blown major league like facility, and you're just kind of waiting for that anticipation of when the game actually starts, of how crazy it's going to be?
Honestly, it was up there for one of the best fields I've ever played on, if not the best. I mean, having an F1 track wrapped around the field and being able to just peek out through the back of the bullpen and see freaking Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff racing around the field while you're just hanging out with the boys. I mean, it was a really cool situation. The whole field, everything was just top tier, from locker room to the field, play surface, everything was, I mean, pretty much top tier besides the elevation, you know? So,
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: just walking into that place at 8 in the morning without anybody there in the first place is kind of odd. And then as the field starts building up, there's more players starting to come in, obviously for batting practice, and the fans start arriving. That really does give you like the sense of this place is kind of 2-in-1, where when there's nobody here at this place, it's just a hitter's paradise. But then when there's people here and the stadium is actually buzzing, it becomes a whole other animal
yeah.
of the atmosphere. Like I was just talking with my broadcast partner who was not even like a couple of yards away from me, and him and I couldn't even hear each other with our headset, with our microphones, with the windows open. That's how loud that PA system was. So it was unlike anything I've ever experienced as a broadcaster, and then every player I've obviously talked to says the same thing. And then just kind of to wrap things up, what is the feeling of playing with a bunch of guys who you played against a year prior, and now you guys are teammates just for 1 week and a goal of let's bring a championship back to the U.S. and Canada?
I think that was honestly the best part about going to Mexico was getting to see, like, I've seen the veteran players of the league and, like, got to play against them, but, like, actually being on the same team and being in the same locker room as them, I thought that was, like, the biggest part for me was just getting to actually meet these guys and talk to them. And, you know, a lot of them are actually, like, really big name players. So it's like just hanging out with them, having dinner with them. Uh, I thought that was really the coolest part. The baseball was amazing, but those people are really cool people as well. So I mean, that was amazing.
And then I'm gonna throw this picture of you and Murph actually holding the BCL championship trophy in the video that you'll see on YouTube. But just how fun was that going down there with with one other Goldeye teammate, that being Max Murphy, and you guys are able to both have contributions not just in the tournament itself, but also in the final.
Yeah, I'm sure Max didn't even know I was going. Like I said earlier in the call, I mean, this was super last minute for me, but I'm so happy that I got to make it out there. I actually had a Diamondbacks tryout that I was supposed to be at, and then they gave me that call, and I was like, man, I really don't want to miss that. So I packed up my bags and headed straight out there. And I mean, getting to have Max out there with me was honestly just made it even better. Made me a little more comfortable. We were roommates. Got to hang out with Max even more, you know, so that's always good. I mean, it was really fun.
Yeah, you guys were able to lift the championship at the end of it, and then same thing. That's two championships as one. Finishing off the Chinese season with a championship gives you some motivation going into this season. So, speaking of which, we'll talk very, very, very briefly about last year. Just give me the cliff notes of what you saw from your side of things.
Uh, I mean, obviously we didn't get like the exact results we wanted, you know, like we didn't have the best year, but I think getting out there and meeting all the coaches that we have, the coaches, and even from the front office to everybody at Winnipeg has been honestly amazing, and that's why I've chosen to. I'll keep coming back to Winnipeg because I mean all the people there are amazing. Coaches, staff, front office, everybody. I mean it's been awesome when I get out there, and I mean I'm really looking forward to hopefully holding up another trophy out there. You know, I mean I want to win a bunch of games this year. Uh, and I hope everybody's on the same train with me. You know.
I mean, just hearing from all the guys of the returnings from last year, it's kind of interesting. So my first year was 24, made it to the finals, swept in the finals, and the kind of the consensus from all those guys was, all right, this time we're going to get back and we're going to finish the job. It's not going to be what happened last year, or I guess the year prior. 25 comes around and it's just guys are falling out of the sky like crazy. Just seemed like every week there was something wrong with just someone
Yeah.
else. It was just one of those trains effects. But overall, if you actually look at how that season was, yes, the results were bad, but being in every game at least is another thing. It's not like you guys are getting blown out every single week. It's just, holy crap,
Yeah.
how many games can you lose by one run? How many games can you actually be in and just miss it by a little bit? And then everyone will hear Max earlier in the show just saying that's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
So when you go into a year like this, how do you push that envelope into, all right, we're not going to lose another one run game if we have anything to say about that, at least from the bullpen wise?
I think. I mean, obviously, when I was a rookie and I was a younger guy, I didn't really have like too much say, and I didn't really go out of my way to like kind of say things to anybody. But I mean, coming back and it being my second year, I feel like I could actually guide a little bit and like help people out in ways that, the people that haven't been there before. So, I mean, I think just helping people out that way will kind of be like a domino effect in the long run and kind of pushing them to just be great. I mean, go out there, have a good attitude, have fun, and just win ball games. I mean, at the end of the day. So that's really it.
I mean, winning takes care of a lot of those things, right? Because I know, like, it's one thing to get blown out and just kind of mentally check out. But is it another thing to be in every single contest and just always fall just a hair short of just one moment that could win a game for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, we just got to find that gas pedal. I mean, it's going to happen again this year. We're going to have one-run ball games. So, I mean, we got to find a way to fight and get through that wall and, win the ball game no matter what. No matter what or how, we got to figure out a way.
So that kind of goes into the expectations of 2026. So it's a full bullpen again this year. Last year it was a little bit of kind of who can step up just because of, like I said earlier, about just kind of the health of the pitching staff. But when you look at something like this, you usually see more left-handers being the minority in the bullpen. This year, however, the right-handers are the minority in that bullpen. There's not as many of you guys. So does that put a little bit of like emphasis on, all right, we know a chunk of the right-handers, at least in a lineup card, are coming up. One of you right-handers are probably going to be called on to take care of the bulk of that weight?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure that everybody's going to be perfectly fine with that. I mean, we know that the lefties will go out there and, find their way through innings, and the righties are going to come in and hopefully blow some doors away and get some outs. So, I mean, I'm happy to see what the team can do. I've been looking at all the people that we've been getting, and it looks like very high-level talent. So, I mean, I'm excited, and I'm ready to see what we can do.
And we'll kind of do just one little wrap up. As you mentioned, you were talking about being still qualified as a rookie last year, but your first year of professional baseball was in the Pioneer League. What did you notice the jump from Pioneer League baseball to American Association baseball?
In the Pioneer, I would say the biggest jump was you have maybe one affiliate, two affiliate guys on each team. And whenever I got to the American, I mean, walking into the locker room and you see Angels, Yankees, Astros, just everybody walk in with all these different affiliate bags. And I mean, that's, I think, the biggest jump was for me. It was in the Pioneer was it was high level, but the American Association definitely is a lot better talent wise. And I think that was the biggest change for me. The fields are a little better in the American Association as well. They still have some good ones in Pioneer, but the fields and the talent level, I would say, was the biggest jump for me.
And we'll put an exclamation point to this with some music talk. So, do you have your idea of what you're going to use for any walk up or walk out music this year? Are we sticking with the Tame Impala theme?
Honestly, I don't know. Tame Impala was not bad. It did me pretty well. I wasn't mad about it. I honestly might change it up though. I don't know what's in mind right now. I'm just gonna let it flow, and whatever comes to mind whenever I get out there, that's what'll be on.
Did you what music did you bring with you to China?
Oh, I gotta. Honestly, I didn't even pick a walkout because they would just play like some really cool sounds, or just like they would play like little things when you would go out there. And I got a couple songs that some of my teammates showed me while I was out in China that would be really funny, but I don't know. I don't know if I could do it.
Is it all in Chinese then?
Oh yeah. That's all in Chinese, and it's kind of like house music in a way, but it's like house music with like a. I'm not sure how to even explain. I'll have to show you when I can get out there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then just kind of like, what do you listen to prior to games, or like as you're getting ready to walk out to the bullpen in the?
I mean, having Keyshawn as my roommate last year, I mean, we played a lot of rap before games. We would always wake up in the morning, throw some music on, and just get ready to go to the field. And I mean, I'm looking forward to doing that again. I mean, it's always fun. A lot of rap, a lot of country. For me, like by myself, I listen to country. Maybe some rock. I mean, I listen to everything. I like music a lot. I could listen to it all, honestly. So
Did you catch any Latin music over the course of the season?
uh, a little bit, honestly. Yeah. There was a couple songs that they played while we were playing during BP that I picked up on, but other than that, I mean, I had a lot of Latin music in my phone already. I mean, like I said, I listen to everything, so I have.
Mm.
You could name anything, and it would probably be in my playlist. So
Yeah, no kidding about that. Final wrap up. So you get into town. What's the first place you're stopping to eat at when you get into Winnipeg?
uh, I honestly, man, I can't think of the name of the place. There's a smoothie spot. Uh, Man, I used to
Is it
get it
Booster
every
Juice?
year. Yes, boosted juice. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab me a smoothie. Probably the first thing I do when I get there.
Yeah.
I was
I
thinking
saw
about those
James
yesterday.
Bradwell.
Actually.
Yeah. I saw James Bradwell
Yeah.
walking into the clubhouse today with that. So just kind of, I think it's just a common theme for most of the guys to stop there because it's like what it's on the walk to the ballpark, isn't it?
Yep. It's on the walk. You just go down the escalators, and it's like in one of the buildings right around the corner from the field. And I mean, I would stop there all the time and get like the strawberry banana smoothie and go straight to the field after. And I mean, that's great. I always love those.
Yeah, that's coming up. We're almost there. We're almost there. What are we now? Just
10 days.
under
10 days for
just
me.
under 10 days for you. Training camp opens up and then we're down in Fargo for a couple of days. And then it's back at home, full week of not even a full week, like less than a full week of practices, and then it's spring training time. So it's good. I mean, you've already had a whole bunch of baseball in the off season already, but American Association season is starting up, and my goodness, we're almost there. The home opener is we're just about a month away from the home opener, so ready to go. So, Derrick, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in Winnipeg shortly.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.